Hello there, welcome to CS School channel. In this video we are going to look at min and max problem. This problem is asked a lot of times in different coding interviews. I have added link to this problem in the description of this video, so do check it out and try to solve it on your own. If you can't solve it, come back to this video. So let's look at the problem statement, which is also given on the screen. So we are given an array A of size n. We need to find the sum of maximum and minimum element in the given array. Okay, and there is a note that you should make minimum number of comparisons. Okay, so this is the important condition in this problem. Now let's look at some of the sample inputs and outputs. The first input is an array with the 5 elements. Okay, the minimum element is -4 and the maximum element in this array is 5, right? So sum of these two is 5 plus -4, which is 1. Okay, so 1 is the output in this case. Similarly, let's look at another example. Here the input is an array with 4 elements. The minimum element is 1 and the maximum element is 4. Okay, so sum of these two elements gives us 5. So hope you are clear with the problem and the sample inputs and outputs. So let's look at a first approach by which we can solve this problem. Okay, so in this approach we will take two variables, current max and current min. Okay, current max will be assigned a value which is the smallest integer possible. Current min is assigned a value which is maximum integer possible. This is the C++ syntax for assigning minimum and maximum integer possible. Okay, after that we will iterate over the array and we will change the value of current max. If the current element is greater than the current max, then we will assign the value of the current element to the current max. Similarly, if the current element is less than the current min element, then we will assign the value of that element to the current min. Okay, and at the end we will just return the sum of current max and current min. So it is pretty easy and straightforward solution. Now let's look at the step-by-step execution of this algorithm. Now let's say we are given an input array A with this value. Okay, the value of current max is int min. For the current problem, I am considering the value of current max to be -999. Okay, similarly current min is assigned a value int max. So for this problem, I am considering the value of current min to be 999. In the real world, the actual value of current max will be lot lesser and the actual value of current min will be lot greater. Okay, I is assigned an initial value of 0. Okay, so we are considering this element. And then what we do? We find out the maximum between current element and current max. So the current element is -2 and the current max is -999. So the maximum between these two elements is -2, right? So we will assign -2 value to the current max. Okay, similarly we will find minimum between AI, the current element, and current min. Okay, so the value of current min is 999 and the value of AI is -2, right? So the minimum between these two is -2, certainly, right? So we will assign -2 value to the current min. Okay, then we will increment I, so I will become 1 and we will start processing this element. Okay, again we will check the maximum between these two, 1 -2. So the maximum is 1, right? So we will assign 1 to the current max, and in this step, like in the second step, we will check minimum between AI, which is 1, and -2. As -2 is lesser, so we will keep the value of current min to the -2 only. Then we will increment I again. So we will start considering this element. Now we will again find out which is the maximum between -4 and 1. 1 is the maximum. So we will keep 1 as a value for current max. And then we will find out which is the minimum value between -4 and -2. -4 is a smaller value than -2. Then we will assign -4 to the current min. Okay, then we will increment I again. So I will now point to this element. Then again we will find out which is the maximum between 5 and 1. Certainly 5 is maximum, right? And then we will find out which is the minimum between 5 and -4. As -4 is more smaller, we will keep the value of current min to the -4. Okay, after that we will increment I again. So I will now point to the last element. We will check which is the maximum between 3 and 5. 5 is maximum, so we will keep the value 5 to the current max. And then we will check which is the smaller number, -4 or 3. Well, -4 is smaller number, so we won't be changing the value of current min as well. And at the end we are just returning the sum of current max and current min, which is 5 plus -4, which is equal to 1, right? So 1 is the output of this problem. Okay, So what's the time complexity of this solution? Well, as we are running only one for loop, right, the time complexity becomes O of n, right? What's the space complexity? As we are not using any extra space, the space complexity becomes O of 1. So hope you are clear with the first approach. So this is the second approach by which we can solve this problem. In this approach, we do sorting. Okay, so we will sort the array. After sorting, the minimum element will be the first element in the array, right? And the maximum element will be the last element in the array. So what we do, we just return the sum of the first element and the last element in this array. So let's say we have an input A with this array, right? After sorting, it becomes -4, -2, 1, 3, 5, right? So -4 is the minimum element and 5 is the maximum element. So we just need to sum these two and return the sum in the result. Okay. What's the time complexity of this approach? Well, as we are using sorting, the time complexity of sorting is n log n. So the overall solution has a time complexity of O of n log n, right? And what's the space complexity? As we are not using any extra space, the space complexity becomes O of 1. Okay. So hope you are clear with the second approach. Now in this problem, no approach is better than the other because each approach has its own pros and cons. Like the first approach has a lower time complexity, but the second approach is more easier to implement, right? So you can give both the approaches to the interviewer and it's up to the interviewer which approach he wants to actually go with. Okay. Now we will see the C++ implementation of the second approach as it is much easier to implement. So this is the C++ solution for the second approach. In this solution, we need to complete this max/min function. It takes vector of integer as an input and it expects integer as an output. Okay. The first step is that we have sorted the array and we have just written the sum of first element and the last element of the array. For running this code, I have written a main function in which I have declared a vector of integer a. Okay. I have passed that vector to the max/min function and whatever the output it is given by the function, I have printed it onto the console. Okay. Now let's run this code. So we get 1 as output, which is also our desired output. So hope you are clear with the problem and its possible solution. If you have any doubt in this problem, do ask me in the comment section below. I'll be more than happy to help you. We will be making more such videos in the future, so stay tuned for further videos.